Yo, what's going on YouTube family? K-Souls back here with another video, and you already know when it's charge time, it's content time. Yes. So today, guys, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I know I might seem energetic. I put a lot into that intro, but boy, I'm in the trenches. This one's called The Trenches of Parenthood. I'm specifically talking about the newborn stage, then the baby stage, and then going off into the toddler. Guys, it's not easy, man. And I know this might be obvious to a lot of people, right? But you may not know much about me, but all I can say is I'm in my late 30s. I had a child in my early 20s. I recently had a child again. My child is now 6 months. And I don't remember how tough it was. Like, I remember how it was financially and how much pressure it put on my finances and stuff. But now, forget the finances. Let's talk about being active parents. First of all, I've said it before, but I'm saying it again. Big up the mothers. You mothers do a lot. Anyone that doesn't say or doesn't agree that it's a full-time job, or just looks at women that have babies and stay at home as people that don't do nothing, or humans that don't do nothing, let me tell you, it's not easy. Babies do not stop, especially as they get older. They do not stop. Their world don't stop. Put it this way, imagine how your life is as a person. I know all the parents will probably relate with me on this one. Imagine how your life is as a person, how much you have to do in a day, what you do in your day to entertain yourself. Every day you have like missions, you know, we're all basically working, well, a lot of us are basically working towards something. So whether you're going to work, whether you got a hustle, whether you're playing sports, games, whatever it is, you, as you get older and as you become an adult, you have your 2 arms, your 2 legs, and your brain to go out and do things. But you know, kids or babies, right? They want to also do things, but they can't physically do it. So what do? They rely on their caregivers, yeah? So the older they get in the newborn stage, the more alert they are, the more aware, and the more physical they are, the more they want to do. And if they can't do it, what do? They cry, they scream, they fuss. Basically, put it this way, you have to live for another person for the whole day until it's bedtime. And if you've got a baby like mine, yeah, you don't even really like bedtime because you want to wake up every 2 hours, yeah, whether that's for a feed or whether you just get up because you've realized you've been put in a cot, or you realized now it's a cot before it was a bassinet, yeah. So imagine that, and imagine, like, the truth is, I don't believe I get a break, but technically I get a break from that, because I'll go off and handle my business, go work, do all that stuff. But the missus is stuck with it all day. So it's just a rotating thing all day long, living for someone else, looking forward to bedtime. Bedtime comes, probably might get 2 hours. But do you know what? Furthermore, let me take you through a typical day in my household when it comes to babies, and people need to realize what it is. So first of all, right, get woken up at about between 5 and 6 a.m. For me, I'm not too mad at it because it's like an alarm clock, but if I go bed really late, I'm gonna suffer for it. So that's that. Once that's done, wake up for a morning feed, so bottles needed, a change, playtime, then gets fussy around 8, probably wants to have a nap, right? And then once that's all done, then we got to wash bottles, sterilize bottles, breakfast, whatever it is, or I need to shoot out and go out. And then that cycle of what I've described is all day. Feed, play, change nappy, nap. Sometimes he doesn't nap, and if he doesn't nap, he constantly wants to be entertained, and he will not sit still, put it that way. So he's gonna move about, he's gonna try and touch everything, he's gonna do this, and you got to be alert because babies don't have a sense of fear. So you have to keep your eye on him, or you have to always be holding him, yeah, to know or to prevent any bad things from happening, yeah. And then all of that is just rinse and repeat all day long. And if they now are ill or anything happens, they feel any discomfort, that's some extra care that you have to give, basically. So it is non-stop. Like, as a human, we basically sacrifice ourselves for these babies. Like, forget your sleep. You know they say you should have 6 to 8 hours of sleep every day to survive. Forget all of that. Get it while you can. Get it if you haven't got kids now. Get it. If you do, wherever you know that every moment that you get to yourself or away from the child or children, just sleep and rest, because it starts all over again. Another thing is, if you're not careful, your relationship can suffer. Mom is gonna be stressed, right? Postpartum is a thing.
You think she gonna continue to be herself? It is a major change that we go through whenever we have a child. She is not going to be that same person that she was before. She's more irritable. She's having these mood swings. She's anxious. She's paranoid. She's coming up with these scenarios and stuff like that. That depression feels like a helplessness, a hopelessness, and you become disconnected from your child. You become disconnected from those around you. Let's just say that now she's more anxious and you're like, she's coming up with these crazy scenarios. She's talking about a hawk is going to come and swoop up the baby and dump the baby in a river, stuff like that. And trust me, we get to the extremes, that constant worry, the constant anxiety, the constant panic attacks. And sometimes both of those things can happen at the same time, to where you have depression and anxiety, and it just feels like your world is crumbling down. As a mother, we are naturally primary caregivers. We just carried the baby. That baby is going to take up a lot of our attention, a lot of our time. Our brains are constantly going. We don't get enough sleep. It's fragmented because we're always worried about the baby. What does the baby need? Then we're irritable and we're agitated, sometimes aggressive. We don't want to be touched. We don't want to be bothered. It's a lot of things. But you are the other parent and you are her support as well. And you really, really, really have to support her in that trying time, because she doesn't even know who she is as well. When we have a baby, it's like a part of our identity. A lot of our identity is gone. And all we know now how to do is be a mother. So we can't even really show up outside of the role of a mother. We definitely can't even show up for ourselves, let alone show up for other people. Any form of PPD or PPA is not a choice. It is a condition. There's a lot of support and a lot of help that's needed. So if you're feeling like, I lost a person that I was with before, why are you so agitated? Why are you so annoying? Why are you so irritable? Why you keep yelling at me? Why don't you want to touch me? You're not yourself. You're not fun anymore. Just try to understand that she's going through a lot of changes. Her body's going through changes. Her hormones are shifting. She's going through a identity shift as well. There's probably a lot of guilt that she's dealing with as well. She wants to be that person, but she can't find that person with all of these new responsibilities. On top of that, the things that you can't even answer. I don't know why I'm feeling this way today. If you are dealing with a woman like that, try your best to support her. Let her get some rest. But you really need to show that she can rely on you too. Learn to love the new person she is. It's all about commitment.
Girls' bodies change. Their hormones are getting used to their current situation. They're raging at times. But, you know, they have to get used to their new self, basically, these women. And on top of that, they are responsible for another person. And I think what I'm learning as well, there's a difference between dad brain and mum brain. I think mum's brain is more attached to the baby. One, because feminine nature, nurturer, and also because the baby was in them. So it's a connection that we can never replicate. Even though I can say the baby came from my balls first, but it grew in them. They got to know each other physically as the baby became ready, as the baby got ready to become a full-term baby and come out of her, they built a bond that I don't think you can ever compare it to any other type of bond. So they feel what the baby feels, meaning that even if the mother lets go of the baby physically, as in, oh, dad, your turn, you look after the baby, or she takes it to a family member, her mind is still racing. Is my baby okay? There's a such thing as phantom cries as well. That's something that I go through and she goes through. Is like where you can just hear the baby crying even though they're not there, or they're not really crying. Do you know what I mean? It's peak, man. Trust me, like, it's not easy. And then balancing, and then having to make sure your house, as a man, having to make sure your household's good, you're attentive to the baby and attentive to the wife, is a different type of responsibility, yeah? And you know, they say a lot of relationships break up because of money. A lot of relationships probably break up as well because of children. And everyone's got different styles or ways that they follow when it comes to raising children. Do you know what I mean? And also, women have to be careful as well, because so much goes into raising a child, right? Or when you first have a baby, looking after a baby, caring for a baby, so much goes into that. So what can happen is that she uses all her energy on that, and then doesn't really have time for the husband. And not only doesn't she have time for the husband, she's also on the edge. And one thing that I've heard it recently being compared to is torture.
What?
I don't want to sound negative, and I don't want to put people off having babies and stuff, but I'm just the reality of the situation. These are the trenches, fam. Anyway, yeah, they say, like, I've heard it recently being compared to torture, right? So imagine this: all of the tactics used to torture a human being, a woman has to face during postpartum. Lack of sleep. To torture someone, they won't let you sleep. They'll let you be tired. Do you know how, like, I've had late nights where I've worked in different industries where I've done night shift. Do you know how torturing it feels to not be able to sleep? Yeah, but your body is shutting down, but you can't sleep. Yeah, that's number one. And I experienced it at home, but I've experienced it at work too. The only difference with home and work is home, I know there's an end goal. So if I do, I'll be honest, she does most of the night feeds because sometimes I come home late from work and stuff, yeah. But if I do it, I know that after I've done the feed, I can now sleep at least for 2 hours. That's the little hope I get, or at least for an hour. You have to hold on to the little hope when you have a baby, right? But at work, I knew I had to stay up for the whole shift, and that felt like torture. So already the women are going through this, because even if they do a feed, if their mind's awake, maybe because the baby's not settling or whatever, sometimes it's hard for them to go back to sleep, even if the sleep is upon them. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. Then your diet's messed up. Yeah, diet is messed up because you're eating just to survive. Sometimes you can't even eat because you're so busy focusing on the child's well-being and making sure everything's patterned for the child that you forget yourself. So when you do eat, it could be just bullshit, like no nourished meals. I try to cook every now and then, but like I said, it's a mad dynamic. I've already said this in one other video. It's a mad dynamic when a man has to go to work, and we live in a country where the economy's mad, so we have to be away from our homes a lot. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you can get remote job and all of that, but mentally you have to work to earn money to survive. So even cooking is a long thing, but I try to cook where I can. But cooking is a long thing. With her, cooking is a myth unless I'm there to look after the baby while she cooks. You get it? So basically, your diet is rubbish. That's part of torture too. there's more, but basically, postpartum is it could be as bad as being tortured. The only thing that keeps you going, if you can, a lot of women break. That's the truth. But the only thing that I think keeps a lot of women going, because this is a normal thing of life. This is a normal practice of life, right? I just think it's that mother nature, the love and the care for the baby, and babies are cute. I think God did it on purpose. God made babies cute, because if they weren't cute, most of us would be getting so frustrated that we don't want it again. Well, I don't know how women have babies upon babies upon babies. Hey, it's not for the weak. It is not for the weak. Like, every day I'm tired. Every day I can fall asleep where if I take a sit. See, if I wasn't recording this now, while I'm charging, I'll be asleep. I'm telling you. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then now my son's getting older. You know, it's just, we haven't even entered, the stage where they say terrible twos. And listen, it's a surprise to me because, like I said, I had a child when I was young. My first child I had was when I was young. I don't know if I feel like I wasn't as hands-on as I am now. Or maybe even, I can't remember, maybe even mentally, but I remember I worked a lot back then. And I just don't remember feeling it so much. Just feeling it financially, but now I'm feeling it more physically, like the act of being a parent, what has to be done. Do you get what I'm saying? And also I'm seeing what my missus is feeling, and I do feel for her, and shout out her, man. She's doing a good job. You know, she has her own battles in life, but she's doing a great job. And because she is very caring, she kind of neglects herself for the baby. And that's another thing that could happen, especially if you're a proper motherly person. So yeah, man, all I can say, I don't even know whether to advise people. I don't know when the best time is to have kids. Some people say sort out your life and make sure you got a right foundation before you have kids. And I hear that, and that's what I used to say. But what about you? How you are? To have children, I feel like you need to have energy, you need to be healthy, you need to be youthful. Like, you want to be able to run around at your kid's school whenever there's what do they do again? The summer what are those things where the parents come and do sports? It's gone out of my mind, but you know what I mean. Like, when you compete with other dads and mums, yeah, you want to be energetic, you want to be able to play with your child. You don't want to be too tired. Do you know what I mean? So then that makes me think that it's better to have them young. But then, you know what? Every way there's pros and cons, because if you have them young, you miss out on certain things in life. But then do you? Because I'm in my late 30s now, and I still feel like how I feel when I was in my 20s. Not physically, I'm tired, bro. But I still have the same dreams, aspirations. I still wanna travel the world and live life and do some messed up shit. Like, obviously from a more mature point of view. But what my point is that some people have their children, and when they get to their 30s, late 30s, raise their child are teenagers, and then they can go out and do what they want. The child don't really need their care at that because they want to do their own thing too. They just need the advice and still the guidance. But the physical work is done. You can go live your life in your late 30s to your 40s, and Bob's your uncle. But if you have them late, you would have lived your life, hopefully you would have lived your life in your 20s, and in your 30s you're ready to settle down, and then you have the kids, and then but then at the same time, if you have them too late in your 30s, 40s, unless you've lived a very good life, a very healthy life, you're more likely going to be tired, because these are the ages when your body starts to change. Do you know what I mean? So judging by what I'm going through now, I know there's a difference from before, and I don't know which one I would say is better. Like, I just feel like God's timing is the one. When is your time, you will have children. Do you know what I mean? And if it's your time, you will have children. And that could be from the moment your reproductive system works. You shouldn't. I wouldn't advise that. Wait to a legal age, and also I would say wait till you're actually mentally and physically ready, whatever that age is. For some people that's early, for some people that's late. But God knows best, and when it's your time, it's your time. But let me just warn you, this ain't easy. Everyone focuses on the finances. Oh, I want to make sure my kids are good. But no, there's more than that. All the other parents out there, let me know what your journey's like. I want to hear more stories, like, you know. Hey souls, I'm signing out. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.